Bienvenidos, welcome. This conference will be in English. And well, welcome to the first workshop organized by LatinSpots. We also want to ask to thank the festival for the possibility to present this show of Latin talent and his influence in worldwide advertising. I'd like to present Marcello Serpa and Pablo del Campo. Presidents and partners of Almap BBDO from Brazil and the Campo Nazca and Saatchi from Argentina. Two of the most talented creative of the region, and their agencies were recognized as the best agencies of Ibero-America for the last 4 years at the festival El Ojo Ibero-America. And after that, you and we will discuss about the future of Latin advertising. Beginning with Marcello.
Before we start, I'd like to thank you all to come down and see a little bit of Latin American work. I have two things to mention. First, as you notice, the most important brand in Brazil and Argentina is Lacoste. Very powerful brand. And second one is sometimes we Brazilians or Latin Americans, Argentinians, we feel a little bit suppressed because we live down there in South America. And now we're doing this speech here, down here. We should have been done this in top, in the big audience, but that's how we feel. Sometimes we're pushed a little bit down. So it's nice to have the chance to present some work from Brazil and then Pablo from Argentina. To begin with, I have to explain a little bit how Brazil works. Brazil is a huge, huge country, but we speak Portuguese. And we are in the middle. It's like a big island in the middle of Spanish-speaking countries. So sometimes we feel, and this is a bad side for Brazil as well, but sometimes it's a virtue, that we are very among ourselves. The Brazilians love their music. They love their soap operas. Brazilians love their soap opera stars. They love our literature, our language. So we don't share much common ground with many other English or Spanish-speaking countries around us. So when you see a Spanish guy coming from Valencia and he's coming to Colombia, to Medellin, he goes to a bar, he sits among those guys, and he has some issues to discuss. They speak the same language. And with a Brazilian guy, goes to some south of Argentina, sits in the bar, everybody looks at each other, and the only common ground would be soccer. But then start a fight, so it's difficult, it's true, it's absolutely true. So this is the downside of Brazil. We have a language that nobody speaks, only the Portuguese. But the Portuguese is small. Portugal is a small country, it's not big. The language, Brazilian language, Brazilian culture is very Brazilian. I think there's some similarities with India. If someone travels to India, you're going to see Bollywood, you're going to see the stars. They have their culture, and they love it. For Brazilian advertising, as long as we did Brazilian ads with Brazilian culture, we were very good. The problem with Brazilian advertising, when we start to feel a little bit inferior and try to replicate some examples even from Argentina, from England, or from America. When Brazilians are not Brazilians, they are bad. We are best when we are 100% Brazilians, and that works. I'm going to show some print work first, and before I start with print, I have to tell you, in the 80s, the economy in Brazil was very close. We didn't have any imports, we had only Brazilian products. So it reflects in the advertising industry as well, because we were so among ourselves, our ads were great, but they were all written big copy. You French would love it to have big copies, but he writes in English, we write in Portuguese. There's a big difference if you write a long copy in English in Singapore, and people in America or India or in the US or in Europe, anywhere, can read and understand, saying, oh, this is a big, beautiful, crafted copy ad. If you do the same in Portuguese, just the Brazilians, and maybe a couple of Portuguese will say, woo, what a brilliant, beautiful copy ad. So this is the problem that we have. So in the 80s, the country was so closed that we have all the ads in Portuguese. And in the 90s, it happened two things at the same time. We have the opening of the economy. We have more imported goods coming into the country. We have lots of international companies buying local Brazilian industries that are owned by families. So there's a lot of outside people, money coming into the country in the 90s. And it reflects that Brazil has to look to the other side of the ocean, has to be more international than Brazilian. So what happened was a print revolution in the 90s, and everything starts with the visual taking over the copy. And the first example of this is in 1993, not this one. I have here, yes. The first example of this is the first Grand Prix that Brazil ever got, and was in print. It's a diet soft drink, and it's a pure, simple idea. At that time, we start a kind of print revolution. Many very good art directors. He might look like you, but doesn't have to eat the same food. She's actually my driver. Really.
Which of them?
Which one?
Very good question, very good question. I'm going to pass the question to him. So this is another very good campaign. We have a really big rainforest problems. It's not only in the Amazon, it's mostly in the south. This is a foundation, SOS Mata Atlântica, which helps. We have a few rainforests in the south, and it's trying to keep it intact. And it says, those who destroy forests don't kill only trees. It's the same. Those who destroy forests don't kill only trees. The next one. So my computer is really... Yeah. This is for Mizuno shoes, Mizuno Wave system. We got in Brazil the approval of the Orthopedists Association of Brazil, and we got an ad. We have to put an ad for that. So it's a running shoe, a very, very good one in Brazil. And I remember when I was here, maybe 1998, 1999, Jean-Marie Dru was the chef on TWA. He was a chairman. And he told me something that really defines a little bit the way we think in Brazil, which is, it's like some ideas, some visual concepts, Brazilian visual concepts are so simple, so easy, that a French would say, it's too easy for me, it has to be complicated. So, and he told me it's a very nice thought, because we're just looking at ads the way we think they are good. And he told me about how the creative directors in France wants to have complicated ideas, because the more complicated and sophisticated, they think they are more sophisticated in their brains. So, and I think exactly the other way around. The more sophisticated you are, the more simple you get. So simple ideas are much more intense for the first time. Of course, if you repeat a simple idea, the same idea many times, and you can see around many ideas being repeated all the time. But if you have the first to get to the point, you are the best. So I always thought simple is better. And since we live in a country we don't have the resources like they have in the US or like they have in the UK, it's better to be simple. And every time Brazilian gets simple, they are good. Oh, it's not working so. It's very late. Okay, this is the second ad for the campaign. You see that very so it's very slow. This is another ad for Veja magazine. Get both sides. And it's all about what you see and what you can read at the same time. And I remember this campaign was very difficult to sell because the owner of the magazine told me and was discussing with those guys, and he told us, this campaign is too intellectual, is too intelligent for Brazilian consumers. And the guy who runs, the editor-in-chief of the magazine, said, what the hell, what a stupid statement. We have to sell intelligence. So this ad is going to work like this. If people are going to look at it and don't get it the first time, but then the first one who gets it is going to tell the other guy, and so on and so on and so on. And it happens exactly like that. The first ad in one Sunday was surprised, everybody was looking at that. And the second ad, everybody knew about it. And on third ad, in the third week, they start receiving many letters of consumers thanking the magazine for challenging their intelligence. And this is something that some consumers in Brazil, some clients in Brazil, don't realize, that if you produce intelligent commercial, the people are going to want to look at it and be challenged by the ads. If the client doesn't want their consumer to be challenged by the ads, they do it just giving bullshit or bad ads. In a country like Brazil, which has so many differences between rich and poor, it's very difficult to make a campaign for 180 million people that everybody can get. So it's difficult to sell something to 180 million people that have no idea how to read, and people that are very high-class intellectuals. How can you make the balance? This is very, very difficult in a country like Brazil. It's much more difficult in TV than in print. But anyway, here's Peace and War. Here's Fidel Castro, Tyranny or Freedom. And slowly, threat or pretext. This now I'm going to show some samples of a very famous campaign in Brazil, which is Havaianas. It started in 1994, and it's a really print-dominated campaign. It's all about colors, all about Brazilian attitude and big product. The client has big product. So I'm going to show some examples. Just some headlines they're going to read or they know. So it's about colors and showing some Havaianas worn in Ibiza where they were enough. I don't know exactly which year it was, but it was a big gold line here. And it's a good example how with real low budgets, if you have a good idea, a good idea, you can put just one camera, one shot, and you sell something. The quality is bad, but I think it's relevant to show how we used to think. Simple, direct idea, and take a benefit and use it in a most simple way. It's almost the same thinking as a print ad, but I like it very much. Let's see if I can.
Rayovac alcalina, a alcalina de longa vida.
I love this ad because it's where we can actually be simple. If someone does this for the first time, nobody can copy. It's not a style attached to it. It's not acting or direction. The background is awful. You see, the background is not good. But anyway, the idea is so powerful, so powerful. Maybe 10 years old, but it works. The next one is an ad, which is about having simple ideas as well, but a little bit better executed, but exactly a simple, direct idea that sells a benefit and has a lot of humor as well. So, I'm gonna.
Nike versus Mizuno, the acid test. On the left foot, Nike. On the right foot, Mizuno. Mizuno no lead, Nike in the lead. Mizuno in the lead, Nike in the lead, 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 Mizuno in the lead. Mizuno is the winner. Nike is last.
Once again, it's a simple idea, very simple idea with a touch of irreverence, which is very Brazilian. If you listen to Brazilians talk to each other, they make fun of each other all the time. There's a lot of reverence in our way of dealing with people. Even if you don't know the guy, you are always reverent. So reverence is part of our culture as well. So if you lose this, we are not good enough. So simple reverence. The next one is an ad that I love, that shows a very Brazilian style of humor, which is, once again, it's just one camera looking at one situation and make fun and selling a benefit of the product, how good the product is.
The new Sharp microwave oven, the perfect gift.
Aquela TV Sharp 28, fiat.
I think it was around 2000. Yeah, I think around 2000 or maybe 1999. But it's simple, it's not a big production value and so on, but it's a good, simple, nice idea. Here's another one which I like very much, which is for the rainforest, exactly the way Brazilians think. And this ad, I know the guy who actually approved the ad is the son of a radio station owner. It's a big radio station in São Paulo. And we put this ad on MTV and on cinemas. And his father didn't know about this ad, because his father is very conservative. And the son runs the youngest radio station, and the father runs the big company, which is more conservative. And the son is a crazy guy. And he approved a huge, big campaign, really funny. He looked at the commercial, great, let's do it. And put on the cinema, on the MTV. And the father went to the cinema, and we lost our account the next day. Really. And we had to cancel. Simple idea, simple executed, and a very powerful message in an ironic, irreverent, and humor. The next one is when Brazilians start to become more international. And then what's happening in Argentina right now, which is really big and really good, is to have international clients come to us asking for ideas. They saw this kind of commercials coming from different agencies in Brazil and say, oh, wonderful, those guys are good. Let's go there and catch some ideas and let's sell it for the world. It's now happening in Argentina big time, and it happens in Brazil as well. And one of the examples is Pepsi, that came to Brazil and asked the agency to produce a single beautiful idea based on soccer. So, and then we had the first time we could shoot actually with $2 million with Peter Gay at the time in London, a big production company, great director, and a Brazilian script, which is based once again on humor, irreverence, and fun.
Cannot believe this. Manchester United 3-0 down, half-time. Where's the imagination from last week? The confidence you showed. 55,000 people come here to see you perform. Not like that. I'll tell you, we can turn this round. We need more determination, a bit more dedication, a bit more commitment, a bit more concentration, and be more positive. Concentration, Peter. I'm joking.
It was, I think that it was the largest ovation I've never listened in the ballet.
Life, it's so good to lead a life like this, without a care in the world, to be free to do just what I want. Those magic moments, life, it's so good to lead a life like this, without a care in the world, to be free to do just what I want. Those magic moments, life. Without a care in the world, to be free to do just what I want.
It looks so boring in the studio. Oops, sorry. Come back. Come back, I have no idea. Command, reverse. Command, left out. Thanks so much. The club just told me about this commercial. Starts, everybody looks at a boring ad. Everybody starts to do. And then comes the thing and say, oh shit. Which is all about advertising. When you are surprised, when a creative guy is surprised by an idea, it's the best way to measure how good it is. So the next one is a very Brazilian ad. And it's going to be fun because Pablo is going to show later on, not a similar ad, it's not the same idea, but the same problem. So how to explain a country that is so crazy like Brazil. And it's explained by for Folha de São Paulo, which is a newspaper, and explains how the Brazilian president is going to elect it in a very, very Brazilian way. I think he won here something, I think it's silver or gold, I don't know exactly which line he won, but in Portuguese this ad is so compelling, it's so amazing because it's a reverence of the Brazilian people put on words of a very famous actor, and it's fun like hell. But in English it still works. But explain a little bit how the Brazilian presidents or our democracy works.
There was this president who had been a dictator, but later was elected. But a black guy who was his friend got himself in trouble, and the president ended up putting a bullet through his heart. Not the black guy's heart, his own heart. It was a ruckus. And after that came this president who built a city smack in the middle of nowhere and moved the capital there. Then came another who talked weird, had a thing for brooms, and he stepped down for no reason and left everybody confused. It was a hell of a mess. But another vice president took post, and he started having some ideas. So the army got rid of him quick and put a general in his place. Actually, not one, a whole bunch of them. There was a short one, then the other one who had some sort of a stroke, and after that, a military council. Then came those three who didn't like being president. And when everyone got sick of generals, they had a civilian who had been a minister for the one who put a bullet to his heart be president. But he had some sort of a stroke too, right on inauguration day. And his vice president, a guy with a funny mustache who called himself a poet, stepped into office and made it illegal to raise the prices on things. That didn't work. That's when free elections came around. And this preppy guy won. He confiscated everybody's money, built a waterfall in his pool, almost ended up in jail, along, of course, with his campaign treasurer, who was later killed under mysterious circumstances. And when the preppy guy got kicked out, the vice president stepped in, the one with the toupee, who loved cheap bread. He made Volkswagen relaunch the Beetle, and made this new money that one of his ministers came up with. And the minister became president because of that. And now he's trying to stay a little longer. Maybe running for re-election against the mustache guy, the one with the toupee, and if they let him, even the preppy guy. Well, basically, that's it.
Folha de São Paulo, 75 years.
This is very Brazilian. You don't know the story, so the Brazilian story, but everybody knows this. And it looks like it's telling you the way Brazilians want to tell a stupid story like that. So.
All car makers have some sort of quality control. All car makers check what they do. But there's one car maker that takes this so seriously that it developed the most rigorous quality control system in the world. Everything gets thoroughly checked and then double-checked.
The next one is for a beer that makes a lot of success in Brazil, and the advertising is great. It's very Brazilian. Sometimes doesn't win here big, but it should, because it's very, very, very Brazilian, very good commercial. This one won, and it's for electronic festival sponsored by that beer. The next one is another one. The international client came to Brazil and asking for an idea for a spot, and we came up with this one.
Excuse me. Can I have your shirt, please?
Sure.
Thanks, mate.
The next one is for a magazine called Época, and it's all about the importance of a week. I love this ad. Now I jump to the less sophisticated, one of the less sophisticated commercials from less, this is not mine. Oh, mine. Sorry. Internet, we have very good internet as well. So I'm going to pass to Pablo, because I took my time, and then we can start
all over the world. I had the chance of judging here in Campo when Marcello was president of the jury, and I promise you that it was a lesson for how to be a good creative director. It was fantastic. It was a great experience to share this time with him. That was 2010. So let's talk about Argentina. Well, Brazil is a great country, and I think that Argentina could be. There are many Argentinians here, and it is crazy. Argentina is a country that is always changing. It changes all the time. On the other hand, one of the positive things about Argentina and about advertising in Argentina is that people love advertising. They talk about advertising, and they demand the brands to move the people to. They demand fun to the advertising. They demand emotion, and they want advertising to make them think. And that is incredible. That's something that doesn't happen in many countries. I think that maybe in Brazil, maybe in UK, but in the case of Argentina, that is something that is always happening. Sorry for that, but I was watching Big Brother a week ago before coming here, and during an hour, the boys and the girls inside the house were talking about advertising and about brands, and I said, no, I prefer the one from the beer. No, I prefer the one from the cell phone company. No, the one from the beer was better in 2005. Now that is incredible. That is something that I think, and I'm sure that is not happening in many other places. On the other hand, what has happened with our industry is that our industry has many years. There is a TV show that is not directed to the advertising audience. It's directed to the ordinary people that has, I think, that 25 years. Every Saturday, midnight. Talking about advertising. There is another guy, his name is Alberto Borrini. He's a journalist, and he has a column in the main newspaper since 30 years ago, talking about advertising. So, advertising is part of our culture. It's part of the Argentinian culture, as the mate, as the dulce de leche, as many other things. Advertising is part of that. And the other thing is that maybe people like advertising because they want to be creative. Because in Argentina, if you want to survive, you must be creative. You cannot survive in our country if you are not creative. And to start, well, Marcello was talking about the spot of the presidents, talking about the 75 years, trying to explain the country. Well, I want to start with a spot, trying to understand a country for 2 months, no more than that. was also a gold lion 4 years ago. There is a spot that unfortunately was not a gold lion because we couldn't put the spot on air. You know that in Argentina we don't have many limitations. One of the things that I find very positive about our spots is that we don't need 30-second spots or 60-second spots. Our spots could be 52, 27. No, that's true, and this is fantastic. When you are writing a script, this is incredible. And so I was saying that there are no limitations, but in the case of this spot, we couldn't put on air because one of the very strong limitations that started in our country in 1998, 1999. Yes. To bring this spot to Cannes. Well, but the point was that it was not related with erotism. The point was that in 1998, because of the economic situation in the country, other insecurity reasons started also, and the client told us that it was not a good time. Because, okay, Argentina, before that time, didn't have any insecurity problems, but at that time it was really, really hard. And you started seeing a lot of creative from the agencies from Argentina. Okay, we are working well, Cannes is something good for us, and now they are starting recognizing us. Okay, let's think about working abroad, going outside Argentina. In the case of many of the copywriters went to the Hispanic-speaking markets, to Spain, many of them, and to the U.S. Hispanic in the U.S. And then many other directors went to the West Coast and to the UK. So that was something that was a little hard for our local business, and that was really, really tough. Fortunately now, things are much better. You know that other thing that happened to us is that in the case of our parents, maybe they lost 70% of the money they had inside the banks. You know, that was, I think it was 2000. 2000 was it? 2001, yeah. And so that was something that we suffer a lot. Now, there is a bank campaign that I want to share with you, that I think that is a short list. I think that is a short list, yes. It's a bank campaign that is inviting people to be owner of apartments, of houses, to be owners of their own lives. You know, it's a campaign that is working very, very well. It's very local, it's long, but I think that is interesting to understand the situation, the current situation in the country.
Primera conversión de dueños. Ser dueño. El ser dueños, como ustedes, como yo. Llega un momento en nuestra vida en que sentimos que queremos pasar del alquiler a la dueñez. Es ese momento en que nos hartamos de todo lo que no es nuestro, de la decoración, de ese ventilador con de esa escalera, de todo. En cada inquilino que ser dueño es sentir la vida acá. Ser dueño es libertad. Es no rendirle cuentas a nadie, como Gary, guitarrista y dueño. Es zapatear en el living de tu casa. Los reinosos son dueños. Es sacar el piano al patio y tocar unas baladas. El señor de rulos es dueño. Es descubrir que la frase el propietario del octavo C tiene la misma cantidad de sílabas que Príncipe Alberto de Mónaco. Es mirar al mundo desde lo alto y en bata. Allá arriba, Iván es dueño. Es manejar un descapotable, el tiempo en la cara. Vanessa es dueña. Es volar. A la delta es dueño. Es animarse. Marcela, dueña. La señora. La señora es dueña. Sí, somos todos dueños. Dueños de plantas bajas B, dueños de chalets, dueños de Love, dueños de Torino, dueños de diccionarios de latín, dueños de Focus, dueños de ñandúes, dueños de grambos, dueños de casas, de cosas, pero por sobre todo dueños de nuestras propias vidas. Por eso, si usted todavía alquila como lo hacía él hasta ayer, sepa que en el mundo de los dueños hay lugar para todos. ¡Arriba! ¡Arriba! ¡Viva los dueños!
Let's round there, continue dancing and dancing. Because now they are owners. So, well, let's talk a little bit about the romance between Argentina and Cannes. As I told before, I came to Cannes for the first time in 1993. That was my first year. And when we came here, our objective was to get a shortlist, definitely. We were very proud of the agency in Argentina that was achieving and getting a shortlist. We were all together, the Argentinians going to follow that spot, all together, working together to make things happen. And the other thing was that it was, and how do you say trabajo hormiga? Work? That we were trying to do year by year. And in the year before, some guys called Fernando Vega Olmos, Hernan Ponce, and Jorge Heyman, who were leading the advertising in Argentina, they told many of us, you must come to Cannes. They were here a couple of years before. You must come to Cannes. You cannot imagine the spot from Dr. Scholz. It was an incredible ovation at the ballet. That was 1992. A spot from one that I want to share with you because at that time was extremely important for us, and that spot challenged us to come to Cannes. Let's see it. That was 1992. 15 years ago. 2 years later, 3 years later, 1995, many of us were here. I don't remember how many of you remember the 1995. Frank Lowe was the president of the jury. There were not any goals that year. It was amazing. So we can consider the silver that we're going to see now as an incredible Argentinian goal from Yangaruta. Let's see it.
Oceania de moi, de tous les autres mon cœur ami, de mon cœur, je te rien, tout je viens qu'à bien s'aimer, ouais qu'on les voit, les qu'on risait, un bleu de mon espoir,